Welcome back to another episode of the KY Derp Boys. This is episode 10. I'm Ali.
I'm DB,
I'm Char Char.
and today is a special episode. This is our third collab. Everyone, welcome Manny the Man.
What's up, y'all?
Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Manny, aka Mannythemanzz. I am a creator on basically all platforms. I post pranks, skits, very Disney oriented things, Not much else to say. I just sometimes people call me Brad. Disney bullies some people. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
All right.
All right, before we start, I just want to say we really appreciate you coming on,
Of
and it
course.
really means a lot to all of us.
Thank you.
Man of my word. Of course.
All right, let's get into our first segment. This is all about you, and your journey. Ali, would you like to start us off?
So, what was your life like before you started TikTok?
Before I started TikTok, I would say, honestly, I would say my life wasn't much different than it is right now. A lot of people think that with, some TikTok like status or fame or whatever people want to call it, that life will change a lot. But honestly, my life is very similar to the way it is now. I feel like I'm pretty secluded, I keep to myself and, I think that has stayed the same. Personality has stayed the same. I would say, honestly, my life is very, very similar. I have the same friends, honestly. Even though I'm in college, I've got some new friends, but I've got the same old friends that I had before. Um, Maybe the biggest difference is maybe financial stability, Um, I was working a lot, I was a camp counselor for years. I loved doing it, but it was hard. Um, and now I'm lucky enough to call this a good side gig that'll keep me on my feet.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's cool. All right, I have our next question. Do you remember the moment you felt like you were gonna take TikTok seriously?
um I think not TikTok in particular, but I always loved posting on social media. The first video I ever posted was off my mom's iPhone 5, and I might have been. I was in sixth or seventh grade. I'm not even trying to make a 6-7 joke. I was in sixth or seventh grade, and I posted a video on my mom's phone on Vine or something.
Only a spoonful.
And before that, in middle school, I used to make videos on my school iPad. Um, I'd always taken posting online seriously. I think the day I really knew that I wanted to take it very seriously and post every day was my my junior year of high school. At that point, I'd accumulated, I would say, over 100,000 followers. And I decided that this is something that I really, really wanted to do. Um, but I'd always had the passion for it, ever since I was a kid.
I mean, yeah, we've been
Sweet.
trying to grow. We just hope we can reach that milestone by our junior year.
How old are y'all right now?
We're sophomores and 15.
High school? Y'all are doing just fine. Trust me. Trust me, y'all are doing just fine. Keep doing you, bro. You're absolutely gonna make it. I was posting every day for a long time and with nothing. 5 views, 10 views, maybe a couple hundred views until one day all you need is that one video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah.
one video.
All right, our next question is, what was your first viral video and how did it feel when it blew up?
My first ever viral video, I was a freshman in high school. I had been posting for a couple years at this point, and viral is, it had I think it probably had 1.2 million views, which was a lot, a lot to me at the time because I was used to getting a couple hundred views. It was a TikTok. I was pretending to be Miles Morales, and it was a joke. I had a Captain America mask on. I put red paper over it. I had a red compression shirt on, and I was just acting like I was Spider-Man. And honestly, all the comments were frying me. Like they were baking me. Like they were making fun of me. It was, but honestly, it felt so good to have that, even though it wasn't all like good, like it felt really good to, be acknowledged. And after all that time, all those videos, for a video to finally do well, you know. But yeah, I was a freshman in high school, and especially the next day, people were walking up to me and like, "Yo, I saw that video you made." I'm sure some people were making fun of me a little bit, but in my head, I was on top of the world. My dream
Yeah,
had finally come true.
that's what we're wishing for.
I can start us off with the next question.
All right, go
Did
ahead.
anybody doubt you early on, and how did that affect you on your way up?
Say that one more time.
Did anybody doubt you early on, and if it did, how did that affect you?
Man, yeah, for sure. A lot of people doubted me. A good amount of people would be making fun of my videos. I'd be in group chats, just like people would send my videos in group chats, they'd make fun of them. And it, especially when I started posting my videos on Instagram, I had like 10 followers, and like people were just seeing my videos. I think some people started unfollowing me actually. Some people from my school after I started posting on Instagram, and it's like a lot of that doubt. I'm I was a pretty insecure kid, I would say, so a lot of it did get into my head, but it honestly turned more into motivation than anything. It made me mad because people doubted me so much, and I wanted to prove them wrong, you know? And so it definitely affected my mental space, but if anything, there's only two things you can do when people are doubting you. One, you could, you know, basically just not, you could just stop. You could stop what you're doing, stop your passion, and not go through with a dream that, either you promise yourself or something that you just really want to do, and or you could, keep going. And I decided to keep going. And all those people who doubted me, doesn't matter. It sure does not matter now. All the
Yeah.
they're behind me. I don't even care anymore because I was able to prove them wrong. And all the people who stuck with me throughout the entire time that I was posting from beginning to end, they're some of my best friends right now. So
I mean, yeah, we have mixed feelings, or people have mixed feelings about us at school. It's like either they make fun of us or they, like us.
yeah, and and you've got to be careful because some people will say they support you and they really don't. They're really doubters, and just got to keep going no matter what.
We had some people who doubted us ever since the beginning. But what advice would you have to be careful for people who act like they are gonna stay with you and then they don't?
Um, I think actions definitely speak louder than what they say. So how they act around you, you've got to be very mindful of that. If they seem, it, it's difficult sometimes to know if someone is for you or against you. So that's really why you have to read in between the lines of some of the things they say. Whether it's backhanded or whether they're embarrassed to be around you or anything like that. You got to watch out for people like that, and you don't have to cut them off, but you got to cut off what they're saying. You know,
Mm.
you gotta block that out.
Yeah, like put up some sort of limits and like boundaries.
Exactly, because all they're gonna do is hinder you from greatness, and definitely don't want that. If you want to make it, sometimes you gotta remove people from your life.
Yeah.
My next question is, what advice would you give to new creators like us and to grow like you did?
Ooh. A lot of people don't like this answer, but consistency is huge. It's what I tell anyone who decides to ask me. It's so huge. Just posting. No matter what, even if you don't think what you're posting is perfect, you got to put it out there before you got to put it out there, and based on what your content is, it depends on how frequent you're deciding to post it. But the point is staying consistent with a schedule and sticking to it because that's what the algorithm will want. The algorithm wants creators who are going to stay and who are going to supply content to an audience, consistently. And I would also say just understanding that the algorithm is changing every single day. What someone is doing may not work. And if they want to keep doing it, they've got to change it up a little. They've got to get with, because right now I'm realizing, something I didn't have to do before is that people's attention span at an all-time low. I've got to get people involved right away. The very start of the video, there has to be something going on, something that will grab someone's attention, make them stay if they're going to watch the entire thing. And so understanding algorithm consistency, and when it comes to understanding algorithm, that's really just studying what is popular, studying what is current because it is changing every single day, every single week, and you got to understand what is working for people. And when you see what's working for people, you put that and apply that to your own content, you know? What I did at first, I used to copy some people's content, and even though that's not a good thing that people should do, it works sometimes because it was already working before. So I'm not saying you should copy anyone, but I am saying that you should apply basically creators that do what you do and it works. Take some of their methods and put it and add it to your methods.
All right, this is kind of talking about like what you talked about. Like, do you think the consistency, engagement algorithm is like the biggest like misunderstanding for like creators?
I would say that's not exactly the biggest misunderstanding. I think if a creator is posting every day or even every day is way better, but every other, I used to post every day, but every other day is fine as well. Depending on or are you guys like making short form content or like long form, just long form?
Both. We make clips out of each episode.
So I would say there should be at least five, six, seven clips a week, honestly. But that's not the important thing. I think what most people miss is what works. I think people can post every day and never get that audience they want because they're not understanding what is working and what the algorithm wants to see. The algorithm doesn't care about how much effort someone puts into a video. You could spend weeks making an edit of something or animating. Someone could spend a month, a year animating something that they love and put all their effort into it and it only gets a couple hundred views because that is not what the algorithm cares about. They care about how long people are watching your video. If the first 100 people who watch your video watch it and they even watch the first 5 seconds, that's going to push it. That's going to keep pushing it towards more and more people. That's how the algorithm works. It's not, oh, my video got a couple hundred views because TikTok's hoeing me or whatever. It's good. It's more people weren't watching it, and they have to take that honestly and not be offended by it, but think I got to change something up. And I feel like that's the biggest misunderstanding. You gotta grab people right off the bat, or else the rest of the video doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, would you like to lead us off with the next question?
Mhm. So, looking ahead, what do you have planned for the future?
I plan to be an actor, model and actor, in the future. I plan to start. A lot of people do not know this, but content creation is not the end goal for me. I'm gonna use it to just help my future self and help my goal of becoming an actual actor in TV shows and movies. And, I'm starting to get the ball rolling on that a little bit. And that is the end goal for me to be on the big screen. beyond content creation, because after you do, what most content creators, once they do become big, you'll notice they start doing other things, whether clothing brands or they just start another hobby, because honestly, there's a rush and then there's not, and you want something new. And this is something that I think will be new. And honestly, that I think you guys are you guys are all 15
Yeah.
sophomores.
I'm 16.
Content
Yeah.
creation is tricky because a lot of some people will have that passion for the rest of their lives and they'll want to keep doing it. But realistically speaking, you're just supposed to, once you make it, you use your platform to do something that will make you consistent income for the rest of your life. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like you still would be making a lot of money. It's just it's not something that is forever. A lot of people don't keep up with their audience forever. But, once you guys do make it there, which I'm sure you will, you'll understand that for yourselves. I think the moment for now is just getting there, getting to that point.
Yeah, our ultimate goal, I would say, is like the MD Foodie Boys.
I don't, do they do
Yeah,
like,
it's we're basically the Kentucky version of them. Like MD stands for Maryland for them,
okay,
and KY
yeah.
is Kentucky for us.
You guys want like a podcast or something like that? Would you say? Or
Yeah.
perfect. That, I mean, that's big right now. So,
All right. That concludes the segment. Let's get into our next part. This one, or next segment. This one will be more about like your TikTok specifically.
okay.
I can start us off. What made you want to start doing your skits and your pranks on TikTok?
Um, the skits in particular, I think.
What the?
Everything good?
Yeah. What? Okay. All right, you can continue. I don't know what's happening, but
Um, like, why did I start want to make videos, or why did I start making skits and like pranks?
um, I guess both.
Um, well, I guess I'll start with videos. Videos, just because I've always had a passion for it, and I love making people laugh, and I love putting content out there, and I love just seeing people's. I like making people's days. Getting that DM of someone saying, "Yo, you just made my whole day better. You just made my whole week better. Watching your content fills me with joy. That fills me with joy. When it comes to skits, I just made one day and it did better than my other videos. Not much better, but it did better. So then I was like, you know what? Maybe I could be a skit creator. And so I started making skits and they started doing better and better. The higher quality they were, the better I got at making them. And then pranks, honestly, just because I was like, people seem to be getting tired of the skits. And it's like, once someone has an audience and they get to a certain point of making the same thing over and over again, people are going to get tired of it. And it's not that you got to change everything that you do, you just got to make another version of it. So instead of making Disney skits, I started doing Disney pranks, right? So that way my audience is like, he's still that Disney guy, but this is another version of it. This is not like all of a sudden I need to start making gym content or something like that because that wouldn't work. That's never going to work. Just fully switching up your 99% of the time, creators can't just change everything. People won't watch them. They built that audience for a reason, and that audience will stay if they keep doing that same thing. But if you do another version of it, yeah. So yeah, that's why I started making skits just because it worked. It wasn't that I had a insane passion for skits. I would say I'd say I made some skits when I was younger, but it was really honestly that it worked. And sometimes when you want to get big, before you can really start doing what you really want to do with your content, you got to get that audience first, you know?
Yeah.
You mentioned a girl named Mindy in your videos. Is Mindy real?
Mindy is not a real girl, no. I think Mindy is the only name I could think of a girl that wasn't in my school. I was trying to think of a name of someone who was not in my school who did not go to my school so that nobody would get it misconstrued or anything like that. You know, Mindy's not a real girl at all.
All right. I have the next question. I mean, my personal favorite skit of yours is the Disney skits. I mean, do you have like a personal favorite that you do?
I think the nerd is pretty fun to do. The Disney nerd, I think it's very cliche. It's easy to pick up on, and it's fun. It's fun pretending to be that goofy dweeb, you know. Um, the bully, I would say, like, obviously those are like the main two I do, but the bully would be a close second. Obvious, like definitely, like that's still very fun and super silly. You mean like the skits, not the pranks, right?
Yeah, the skits.
Yeah, yeah, I would say the nerd, honestly. But I think the bully, people like the bully more.
My next question is that so we have scrapped a lot of videos, but have you ever scrapped a skit or a prank? And if you have, tell us about it.
I've scrapped pranks a lot because it didn't work. You know, I would walk up to someone and they would either be like, "Oh no, I don't want to be in this," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's fine," or the camera was just weird. It wasn't good lighting. Um, the like I messed up my lines or something like that. Sometimes I've been making skits and halfway through the skit, I'm like, this isn't funny, and
Yeah.
I won't make it. But there are some times when I'll be making a skit or I made a prank and I'm like, is this even funny? Is this even working? And I'm unsure. And when you're unsure, you post it anyway. And most of the time, people find it will find most of the time people found enjoyment in it, and most of the time people will find enjoyment in it. I don't know if that makes sense, but people people will find it, people will like it, even if you're unsure about it. I think the main thing is getting the content out there because you don't know if it's gonna work, you know. But if it's bad, like if it's just bad, you'll know it's bad. But if you're unsure, like if two out of the three of you are like, I like this, and one of you is like, I don't like this, post it, you know?
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to do this one a little quick due to time constraints, so we have time to do the dance battle. This one
So
will just be the trending topics.
I can start us off. What are your biggest goals for 2026?
biggest goal for 2026. One, get to 1 million followers on Instagram. Um, two, get cast in a show, movie, commercial. Just get my first casting out there. Three, sign to an agency. Four, four, buy my dream car. Five, uh, have all A's. School's number one, guys. Remember that. School will always be number one.
Yeah, we
What's
Even
your
agree.
without
dream
all
car?
weapon.
What's your dream car?
Dream car, 2024 Chevy Camaro blacked out.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are sick.
I'm hopefully this summer. I think this it's just yeah. Point is that is just some other tips I will say. Even throughout making content, you know, school is very important. Like a lot of people at this school don't know it, but I'm actually transferring from this one to a better school just because academics and better for my major. And you know, if you'll have the time, and you know, you just got to choose to do it. So remember, content is good, but school will always be there as well, and it'll help you. It'll help you consistently. I would say, content's not as consistent.
All right. My next topic is about Palm Beach Pete. You know who that is?
You said who? You said what?
Palm Beach Pete. You know who that is?
I don't think so.
He's like a clone of Epstein, but he's not.
Okay.
I actually don't know. I can't tell, but
All right. What's your question? What's your question?
what's your take on him? but you don't know who he
I
is.
don't know who he is, so I guess I don't really have a take.
That's fine.
He
You
just looks like
go to DB.
looks like Epstein.
Yeah,
Like exactly.
Pretty similar.
almost exactly. And he says his name is Palm Beach Pete, and everywhere he goes, Epstein was. So
Ooh, that's
I don't know. There's just a bunch of stuff that makes him seem like he actually is.
that's a weird conspiracy. That's a wow. That
Yeah.
is really weird. That's all I gotta say about that. That is odd.
Alex or Allie?
You gotta meow. You gotta meow.
No.
Yeah, we're doing it in this episode, so you gotta get on your chair and meow.
We do like a hazing ritual if one of us like messes up. I'm like,
I mean, if it's a ritual.
meow.
No, your real one.
Yeah, do the real one.
Your real one.
Come on.
I think that was good enough. I think that was good enough.
Meow.
No.
All right. All right, Allie, lead us off with your trending topic or question.
Okay. Do you watch anime at all?
I've watched a couple of them. I watched a couple of animes, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Do this part quick, Allie.
Okay. We're gonna have you rank 5 animes without knowing the next one.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right. The first one is Death Note.
Ooh, 2.
Okay. The second one is Naruto Shippuden.
Wait, actually, no, my bad. I'm putting Death Note at 3.
Yeah. The second one is Naruto Shippuden.
Shippuden?
Yeah.
2.
Okay. The third one is Bunny Girl Senpai.
5.
Fourth one is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I've heard a lot of good things about that, but I haven't watched it personally, so I'm gonna say 4.
Okay, the last anime is My Little Sister Can't Be Rescued.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's terrible.
That's a good list.
Nah, that's a terrible list. That is a terrible list.
All right, I'll lead us off with our next trending topic. I mean, have you listened to the World Cup song at all?
I have.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think if it came out 10 years ago, people wouldn't dog on it as much. But I do think that compared to every single other World Cup song, even Speeds, it's terrible.
I agree with you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
All right.
Char.
Now it's time for our final segment. The best, the greatest, and the most fun segment of all time.
The dance battle.
Yeah.
All right, here's how it's gonna go. We're each gonna like take turns dancing, and at the end we'll give honest scores, and whoever wins is officially the best dancer of all time.
All right, let's do it.
All right, who would like to go first? Allie?
Sure, I'll go first. Okay.
All right,
All
we'll have you use this one music I forgot. It was like Yeah by Usher, instrumental. We'll use
That's the one I
that.
usually use.
Yeah, we'll use that in the background when I edit it.
Oh, so we're dancing to no music right now.
No. Well, it would be like choppy in the mics, that's why.
Yeah.
But just you're dancing to the instrumental.
All right.
All right, Allie, take us away.
Okay.
Not even. Oh wow, these are all Fortnite dances. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Oh!
Oh!
Okay. It's got good knees though.
All right, also, the fit is included in the rating.
That was what?
The fit will be included in the rating.
I'll
So
give you
include
that.
that.
I'll give you a fit take. We got the shorts, the reindeer hat, the blue army puffer jacket.
Oh god.
I would say this is pretty good fit.
All right, Charlie,
All
you
right.
go ahead.
Blue shirt. Shane.
Oh. All right.
All right, I'll go next. All right, this is mine. I got the swimming trunks, Messi jersey for the World Cup.
That's pretty good.
I got my Naruto headband and my do-rag.
Oh. Got a lot going on here. I think the fit might save you, but other than that,
It was the Toka dance.
all right.
You know what dance I'm talking about?
Toka?
Yeah, Toka dance.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up after
All right.
this. All right. If it was all right, I'll give some.
All right.
All right. One second. Well, I got all my laundry here. All right. Bro, when I was talking to y'all, I thought y'all were like genuinely like 30 years old. By the way,
No.
that's usually the type of people that interview me. All right. Y'all can see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Oh, that was
All right.
crazy.
I practiced it when I was about y'all's age. Actually.
That was fire.
All right, Manny, who do you think had the best? How about you just rank us? Rank us 1 through 3.
I think I'm gonna have to give it. It was Ali, right?
Yeah.
Ali, then Char, and then DB. Unfortunately, I think if I knew your dance, I would rank you higher though. If I knew the
Okay.
dance.
Oh my god.
All right. All right, we got to do this.
So good though. Everyone did great.
All right, thank you. Okay, we got to do the outro.
Before we wrap up, we've got 2 final questions. Do you think we deserve a follow?
Of course. Follow them. 100% follow them.
Thank you so much.
You're the first person who we've interviewed who said that. The other
Really?
2 people, and the Anime Men and Jay Michio, they said no. All right. I have the other final question. Would you come back in the future if we hit a follow goal that you set?
Now, if you guys can hit 10,000 followers in the next, what's a reasonable time frame? Would you say?
End of summer?
If you guys can reach 10,000 followers.
End of year?
I'm gonna say before the end of the summer, before September. If you guys can reach 10,000 followers, it's gonna be hard, but if you guys can get there, I will shout you out on all of my platforms.
Oh my god. Yep.
I man my word. I'll write it down. Just email me. I look at my emails every day.
All right, thank you. We'll
That'd be a
try.
good
We'll do our
challenge.
best.
All right, y'all
All
can
right,
do
Charlie.
it.
Let's give a huge thank you and a round of applause for Manny for coming on.
Appreciate you guys.
Charlie.
That's gonna wrap up this episode of the KY Derp Boys. Big thanks to Manny. I'm Char.
I'm Ali.
I'm DB. We'll see you in the next episode. Dirt Boys signing off. Can we do a noggin?
Noggin, hey!
Oh yeah,